You won't believe the A-list star Sam Elliott can't stand, and why. He's the gravel-voiced icon of the American West. A man whose silence speaks louder than most actors' entire monologues. For over 5 decades, Sam Elliott has stood for authenticity, grit, and a kind of old-school integrity that Hollywood doesn't always make room for anymore. He's played cowboys, ranchers, outlaws, and loners, always with quiet dignity and that unmistakable presence. But now, Sam's finally breaking his silence about the actors and filmmakers he just couldn't stomach working with. And no, he's not throwing shade for the headlines. He's doing it to defend what he calls the truth of the craft. So who made the cut? Who did Sam Elliott think violated everything he stands for as an actor and a man? Some names will surprise you. Others will make perfect sense. Let's ride through them, one by one. Let's start with the name that lit a wildfire, Benedict Cumberbatch. When The Power of the Dog hit screens, critics called it a modern masterpiece. Moody, bold, Oscar-worthy. But Sam? He called it something else, pretentious. During a podcast appearance in 2021, he didn't hold back. He didn't try to be diplomatic. He said what he felt. The pacing? Slow. The directing? Art house fluff. The performance from Cumberbatch? Absolutely unbelievable. Sam zeroed in on the British actor with laser precision. He tore into the way Benedict walked, the way he talked, even the way he wore his cowboy boots. What does this guy know about the West? He growled. To Sam it was cosplay, not character. And that hit hard, especially since Cumberbatch took the role seriously. He stayed in character, learned ranch work, lived off-grid. But none of it mattered to Sam. Why? Because he believes the West isn't something you can mimic. It's something you carry. Critics came for him. Called him sexist. Called him narrow-minded. But Sam didn't apologize. He didn't flinch. Because in his mind it wasn't about ego. It was about respecting the legacy. And in his eyes, The Power of the Dog disrespected the cowboy not by mocking him, but by misunderstanding him. Next up, Nicolas Cage. The man who turned eccentric performances into a brand. Wild, unpredictable, intense. To some he's a genius. To Sam Elliott? A distraction. When they worked together on Ghost Rider, they couldn't have been more different. Sam brought his usual quiet gravitas, while Cage was full tilt, unpredictable, wild-eyed in every take. And while Sam stayed professional, insiders say he kept his distance. No feuds. Just quiet disapproval. In later interviews, Sam spoke broadly about actors who hijack scenes for their own ego. Who make the story orbit around them. Most people reading between the lines knew exactly who he meant. He once reportedly said of Cage, more firework than flame. And that about sums it up. Where Sam values stillness and silence, the kind of acting that simmers under the surface, Cage erupts. For Sam that's not acting. That's theater. And not the good kind. Then there's Kevin Costner. This one might sting for fans of Yellowstone. You'd think two Western icons would be allies. But Sam sees things differently. To him, Costner's cowboy feels fake, curated, too clean, too comfortable. When Costner took the lead on Yellowstone, audiences loved it. Sam? Not so much. He reportedly turned down a role on the series outright. Called it a soap opera with a cowboy hat. And about Costner's performance? One friend claims Sam scoffed, he plays a rancher like it's Halloween. See, Sam grew up around real ranch life. He brings that lived experience to every role. Costner, in his eyes, brings the Hollywood version. Sam doesn't care how many monologues you deliver. If you don't feel the land in your bones, you're just playing dress-up. This isn't personal. Sam doesn't attack for drama. But he does draw a hard line between real and fake. To him, Yellowstone might look like a Western, but it's not living by the old code. And now, the most over-the-top name on the list, Jared Leto. If there's one thing Sam can't stand, it's pretentiousness disguised as artistry. Method acting turned into media spectacle. And to him, that's Jared Leto in a nutshell. The guy sends rats to co-stars. He won't break character between takes. He turns every performance into a headline. To some, that's commitment. But to Sam? It's self-indulgence. He's treating acting like a carnival, Sam once reportedly said. There's a story that Sam was once attached to a project that eventually shifted into a Leto-led vehicle. As soon as he heard, Sam quietly stepped away. No drama. Just gone. What? Because to him, acting is a sacred craft. It's about disappearing into the story, not making it all about you. Jared, with his Oscars and Instagram-ready antics, represents everything Sam believes is wrong with modern Hollywood. Now, let's talk about a clash that happened quietly but left a deep mark, Ashton Kutcher. The two worked side by side on Netflix's The Ranch. And while the public saw them as an unlikely duo, insiders saw the tension. Sam was polite as always, showed up, did the work, but he never warmed up to Kutcher. To him, Ashton was a product of viral fame, elevated by sitcoms and celebrity, not by years of grind. He once told someone close to the set, "He's a nice guy, but no real actor." Kutcher, to his credit, was full of admiration. He called Sam a mentor, spoke about how lucky he was to share the screen with a legend. But Sam remained unmoved. He reportedly joked, "He acts like someone who saw acting on TikTok." That's not cruelty. That's just Sam's code. Acting is earned. It's lived. And while Kutcher was charming and funny, he never brought the weight Sam believes every role demands. Let's circle back now to Jane Campion, director of The Power of the Dog. Sam's words about her film weren't just critiques. They were scathing. He questioned her right to tell a Western story at all, suggesting that being a New Zealand director made her an outsider to the world she was trying to portray. And Campion? Well, she hit back. Hard. While accepting an award, she told the crowd, "He's not a cowboy, he's an actor." It was a dagger. And it worked. Her point was clear. Just because Sam has played cowboys doesn't mean he owns the genre. And just because she's a woman doesn't mean her story is invalid. To her, Sam's criticism wasn't about performance, it was about power. A gatekeeping move. But for Sam, it wasn't about her. It was about authenticity. He doesn't care who's telling the story as long as it's true. And to him, The Power of the Dog was a Western in style only, not spirit. Finally, perhaps the most heartbreaking rift on this list. Jeff Bridges. They shared something rare. That deep, soulful bond between two men who understood the silence behind strong characters. When they worked together on The Big Lebowski, it felt like lightning in a bottle. Sam, the wise narrator. Jeff, the iconic dude. But after Jeff's Oscar win for Crazy Heart, things changed. Slowly, quietly, but undeniably. Bridges became harder to reach. More involved in the Hollywood circuit. And Sam? He noticed. In a later interview, Sam said, "Some folks change. Others just show who they always were." Fans read between the lines and they saw it. No feuds. No blow-ups. Just a painful silence that spoke louder than words. To Sam, that silence wasn't about ego. It was about loss. Not of friendship, but of someone who used to walk the same path. And that might be the hardest truth of all. Not the loud betrayals, but the quiet drifts. So there you have it. A list of actors Sam Elliott has quietly walked away from. Not for headlines. Not for scandal. But because he holds something sacred, and refuses to let it be watered down. Whether you agree or not, one thing's for sure. Sam Elliott doesn't fake anything. Not in life, not on screen, and definitely not when it comes to speaking his truth. So what do you think? Is Sam too old school for modern Hollywood? Or is he the last man standing for a kind of integrity the industry's lost? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this deep dive gave you something to think about, give it a like, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe for more behind-the-scenes Hollywood truth bombs. Thanks for watching, and remember, some legends don't ride off into the sunset. They stand their ground.